this is the reason I love the Lover's Journal. It brings up these things. Like, I didn't know that you were bummed out about me not finishing reading the book with you.
Yeah. The prompt for week 2 is list at least 5 things about your partner that makes you smile. Her effortless ease in dealing with challenges with others. Almost to where they become sometimes not like challenges because you deal with them with such ease.
I really love your joy for life. I'm used to people saying like life is short, but for you, you have this thing where it's like life is long. When you make a mistake, it's not a big deal. Like life is long for me to learn from my mistakes. So I really love your joy for life.
Our second prompt for week 2 is how can you show up more authentically in your relationship this week? How can you show up more authentically for your relationship this week, Sarah?
I am going to stay present and in communication with you because I feel like I've had the last 2 days have been like not my best days. And I think how I want to show up more authentically is like actually be in my sadness, but stay in communication with it. Because I think when you are sad, like, and then you communicate, like I communicate to you, like, look, like I'm sad, I'm going through this and it has nothing. I think that's what I said. I'm having a hard moment and it has nothing to do with you or with our relationship. So you don't have to keep checking in with me. It's like, I can just be sad and it has nothing to do with you. But it's also important to like, for me to keep that in communication. And
right.
So that's what,
because we do live together. And
correct.
So whatever you're going through is going to impact me in some way or another.
Correct.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay. Thank you for sharing that.
Okay. What did you say?
I said,
oh my God, you wrote a lot.
how can you show more authentic? How can I show more authentically? How a few days, I need to sort of acknowledge that how a few days of grumpiness are starting to be a challenge for me.
Okay.
So I need to say this. I just said that. There you go. And I need to care for myself. I need to take a little time alone, maybe just be with myself and be centered so that I can be more present when we're together. When I listen or she needs to speak, I want to be clear when I am, when I can listen and or when is a good time. Be clear on sort of the time and when I can, and then really be 110% present when I am. I think particularly, the beginning of the week, it had a few, I don't want to say challenges, but life. Mondays are Mondays. Sometimes there's a lot of stuff going on, right? And I just think that sometimes it can be important that if I also need to care for my own space, that since I'm also in relationship with you, to just be clear when I need to take care of my space, but then also really offer that space for our relationship, and that when I do that, I'm really, really present.
Got it.
Yeah.
Third thing.
Third, go ahead and read the prompt.
What little thing can you do to bring more love into your relationship this week?
Okay, shall I start then?
Yeah.
Okay. I will take a couple of minutes randomly in the middle of the day a few times this week just to take Sarah into my arms and hold her. Not long, nor with expectation, but with love and full presence.
Oh
Oh,
my
why don't I
God.
start kind of right now?
Oh my God, I'm so...
What about you?
I said, I'm going to take time to kiss my boyfriend multiple times a day.
Ooh.
And I'm going to be present while I'm doing it and intentional about it.
Oh, I got a cheek right there ready. Ah.
Oh my God, now you have lipstick all over.
Well, not all over. I'm gonna put some sealant on that so that it stays. And then lastly, other thoughts and realizations. What would you like to share for that?
For that, I had it would be nice to take a day over the weekend and go on a hike together and then make a picnic out of it, because we've gone on hikes, but I don't think we've gone on a picnic since we left Kenya.
That might be true. Okay.
Yeah,
So a picnic hike.
Yep.
Nice. Okay. So we skipped journaling last week, and that bummed me out, made me a little sad.
Oh, it did?
It did. I love doing reading and journaling together, and I get a little bit bummed out when we miss it or when you are not in the mood. Yeah.
So do you want to read a book together?
Well, I do, or just, but just making sure that also, which I thought was kind of, which was interesting, and I'm glad it came up actually with this journaling even early on, because one thing when we put this together was this thought of, well, like what happens when you miss a week or whatever, and that's fine. We even wrote that into the introduction. Like you're going to miss a week, you might miss a month or whatever, and that's not really a problem. Sometimes we're on slightly different rhythms or schedules, or your priority one week is slightly different from mine. And when we're doing something together, how do we make sure that that's something that then doesn't become a challenge in our relationship? Like, oh, this is this great thing. You can do Lover's Journal together. Oh, but one person really wants to do it and the other person keeps kicking the can down the road. And then how does the Lover's Journal then become something that brings a new challenge into the relationship instead of alleviating challenges?
Got it.
And I actually think that that's probably it's something that I think people will deal with anyway, right? Because as two different people, but living a life in coexistence in some ways, our rhythms aren't always going to be in sync, right?
Yeah.
And so to me, that was this big thing that came, and I think we can talk about that for a few minutes, is how, do you wear some of the challenges in that, or how do you work with the fact that we sometimes are on sort of different rhythms?
Yeah, I think sometimes I'm we're on different rhythm and I show up and do it anyway, so sometimes it's you don't feel like it, but you're an adult and you're in a relationship and you show up anyway. Mm-hmm. That's one way, I feel like I deal with that. And sometimes it's actually looking back and saying I don't feel like doing this. I'm not in a position, this is not a priority and it's not going to be the end of the world if I miss this week. There's next week and life is long, as you usually say. And there's next week to do this. And so it just kind of depends on do I feel that this is really important? Because last week, I'm sure it's not I just didn't feel like doing it. I'm sure there was something on Tuesday that was more important than doing this journal with you,
right.
Mm-hmm. So I think it's just kind of that balance of knowing that when is it a good moment to be you know what, I'm not going to do it. And when it's I don't want to do it, but I still get to show up and do it.
Right. And some of the commitments that we make, and how do we say we make a commitment each day. So, sometimes a commitment is oh, you broke a commitment, and it's going to be easy to feel bad or get angry. You broke your commitment, or I feel guilty or shameful or bad because I broke my commitment, as opposed to saying a commitment can be remade every day. In some ways, they should be remade every day. Our commitment to each other, I think it's important in relationships. Sometimes we actually have to really sort of bring consciousness, and it's something we do when it's around our anniversary time, is being are we recommitting? Are we re-upping the subscription was our joke, right? Yeah. And so bringing awareness into that. And I think sort of being on the other side, last year we were going to read Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication book together. And you kept having resistance to it. And so basically I just decided, you know what, rather than being upset about it, nonviolent communication is a difficult and complex thing to master. Let me just say,
I was having, I actually did read it with you. I just didn't finish.
Right. We got a little ways into it.
No, kind of halfway through into it. I just you would go to bed and you'd be do you want to read this book? And I would be no, I don't feel like reading this book today. And for some reason, I just wasn't in a place to really take it in, mm-hmm. So, and I feel I got ready to be I want to read, and I'm reading right now, I'm reading The Intimate Couple, and I'm doing it on my own, without you. And sometimes I've read a couple chapters for, or paragraphs for you, but it's just sometimes we're just not in the same, I don't think you want to be reading The Intimate Couple with me.
Yeah.
Do you?
Maybe. You
I
didn't
haven't
ask.
asked.
No, you didn't ask.
I did not ask.
But I think, so to me, and I get that. And what happened is that when we started that, we were in sync on it. And then we got out of sync. And I was frustrated because we had said we were going to do this together, and I kept asking, and felt like it was becoming my responsibility, and I didn't like that. But I had two choices at one point. Either I stop reading it, or I continue reading it on my own, and saying, you know what, we need to shift you'd made an agreement that didn't work for you anymore, and that was okay.
Yeah, and I think what happened too last year was like the year before that, like 4 or 5 years back, I was reading between 25 and 30 books. And so last year when we moved to Kenya, I just didn't want to read anymore. It was really funny where I got to a place where it was I am not inspired to read. I think I read 12, 15 books last year, just because I was just I had made reading my goal for so many years, even when I was going through college, and I read so many books. And then I was just we moved to Kenya, and I was I just want to take a break from reading. And so it depends, because when we met, I was reading a lot of books, and actually you were not reading as many books. Mm-hmm. So I came into your life and we started reading 25 books, 30 books. I think you read 30 books last year, if not more. And I was in this part of my life where it's I've read so many books.
I've read them.
I've read them. I don't want to take any more information. I want to break from books. Mm-hmm. And so, and I'm almost I'm still in that place where it's my love for reading is not the same as it used to be. And I think this is why even this year, 2021, I was just I'm just going to read a few business books and memoirs. And if it's not interesting, I'm not going to force myself to finish. Before I was if I start a book, I must finish it. So I think coming back is also as partners is really communicating where am I at?
Right. But I think the bigger issue there, though, is that you had said, I want to do this, we're going to read a book together, and then you changed your mind.
Correct.
And I had to be okay saying, okay, I'm just going to adjust that. And I finished, and I was I finished. And you said, wait, what? I thought we were reading it together. And I was well, what do you mean?
It's been 6 months.
Yeah. And I said, wait, but it's a book that I was, you know what? It's not a book you read once. I've already read it once before. Mm-hmm. And so I read it again, and I thought, oh man, it needs practice. Reading that book, actually, I don't even know why you read it, because that's a good idea. Reading it, you might as well just look at the covers, because it actually takes practice and work, and you need to, I feel like I need to go back and read it again. So I didn't feel like I was losing anything in that, but I think that was just kind of my point, was that sometimes it has to sort of be readjusted. The commitments need to be remade, and I've got to find a way to be okay with that. Consent is something that we say even in the world of intimate sex is something that can be given and revoked at any time. And I think it's that way also with the work that we do together is it can't be totally unilateral. We are in a relationship, we need to be communicating, but we also really need to be open that things change for each other. And while we're in a relationship, we're also autonomous individuals.
Yeah. This is the reason I love the Lovers Journal. It's just it brings up these things that who knew? I didn't know that you were bummed out about me not finishing reading the book with you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love the Lovers Journal.
I love the Lovers Journal too. And I'm so excited that sometime in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think we're going to be getting journals that we can then
share with
everybody. So we're really excited. At theloversjournal.com is where you can order a copy. Right now, you should by all means check it out. You'll learn more about what it is. And always, if you have any questions about it, let us know. We love to share what we're doing with this.
Yeah, and we'll see you next time when we do week 3.
All right.
We're going to do this.
We're going to be doing this for a while, and we probably won't share every week, or we'll do it every other week or something, but we're really excited to be on this journey with you. So in the meantime, have a fantastic week full of love, and we'll see you next week.
See you next week.